Hey, this is Anthony from Bayside, and this is getaddicted.org. The first Bayside practice was the first time we all met, actually. We all met online on message boards for bands and decided, like, hey, why don't we all start a band together? So we all got together in a basement, and that was the first time we met each other. It was probably a lot less mature than it is now, you know, a lot less, because 10 years ago. Less mature, probably not as good, not nearly as good, you know, but it was punk. We were a punk band. It's been great. Like, we're really blown away by the reaction. We're pretty excited. Spin magazine in the U.S. has historically doesn't like punk in general, kind of our style of music, and so they've always kind of taken that out on us and other bands like us, you know what I mean? It's not really their cup of tea. So our reviews from them have always been pretty bad. And this record, they gave us 8 out of 10 stars, and they said that, they said it was a good review from them, and all the punk magazines and websites and stuff, all kind of, 10 stars, 9 stars. It's been pretty amazing. And the fans are the hardest critics, you know what I mean? Because the fans fall in love with the older stuff, you know what I mean? And sometimes it's hard for them to accept something new, you know what I mean? But so far it's been pretty great. I spent a whole year writing the album, actually, which I think actually worked out really cool for the album, because it, you go through different moods, obviously, over the course of a year. So there are angry songs, for sure. There's very angry songs. I had a long year relationship-wise while writing this record. So there's very angry songs, but then there are songs where I'm kind of questioning, do I have a right to be angry? And probably The Wrong Way, the song on the record called The Wrong Way, is probably the harshest, I think. I meant for it to be, and also the single Sick 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 is also pretty mean. You've been doing it the wrong way. The Wrong Way in particular, in Sick Sick Sick, we have them also, and that was kind of that was planned from the beginning. From when I was writing it, I was like, oh yeah, that's got to be a gang there. With Wrong Way in particular, we had Newfound Glory was on tour at the time while we were in the studio, and they had a day off, so they're all, some of our best friends. So we invited them over to the studio to come and hear like the progress, and we were listening to Wrong Way, and I was like, oh, that would be you know what? I was thinking maybe like this Believe here, because that Believe is more rhythmic to me, I believe, and so I was like, I had this idea, let's try it with everybody here. So all the Newfound Glory guys came into the vocal booth, and they actually do all the gang vocals for that. A dead man's hands, we are the only friends we ever had. When I say we, I more mean like I'm the only friend I have, and you're the only friend you have. I meant it to mean more, you have to count on yourself. You can't never wait for the phone call, or never wait for something to fall on your lap, or never wait for a future to fall on your lap. You know what I mean? Like, you're the only friend, you're the only ally, only true ally you're ever going to have, so make your own way, and that's a big theme on the whole record, actually, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, just do it yourself, you know what I mean? And even on the title track, on Killing Time, the last song on the record, the chorus, I've been waiting all my life for a moment to come. And we're the only friends we ever had, I think, to me, means like we've been waiting for this moment to come, and it's time we realize that we have to go get it. It's not going to come. You know what I mean? You go do it yourself, Camaraderie, I think, is a good word for it. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times we compare ourselves to like being an army, you know what I mean? And like, we depend on each other to that level, to like 4 guys in a bunker together, like we depend on each other to that extent, you know what I mean? Like, our lives, not everybody has a good day every day. We spend 300 days a year together, and obviously everybody's got bad days, and you just learn to, all right, Chris is having a bad day today. You know what I mean? Today's Chris's day. It's all right. You know what I mean? And then sometimes, a lot of times, it's my day. It's like, all right, just stay away from Ant today. We've been touring on buses for 4 years now. We were in vans up until that, and we've been on buses for 4 years, and now the bus is starting to turn into kind of like a mausoleum also. You know, you just feel like this kind of oversized coffin, and you kind of feel trapped. Actually, when we went on our first tour is when the Foo Fighters' Color and the Shape came out. And I remember buying it from the record store and listening to it in the van while we were driving on tour. And this is our first tour ever. I was 18, and we didn't even have a record deal. We didn't have a manager. Nobody knew who we were. So, like, you know, the future, who knew what the future, you know what I mean? It could have been our only tour for all we knew at that time. But I remember listening to The Color and the Shape and going through the liner notes and being like, oh, Gil Norton, like, this record sounds great. Whoever this Gil Norton guy is a genius. And I looked back, and he did the Pixies, who I've listened to for a long time, and he, Counting Crows, and he went on to do Jimmy Eat World and Dashboard Confessional, all these great records. So I always said, ever since The Color and the Shape came out, and obviously all the Pixie stuff, I was like, this guy, like one day, like maybe this guy will, the same way we said maybe one day we'll tour in a bus, and maybe one day we'll get a record deal, you know what I mean? And Gil was one of those, like, maybe one day things, And when we started writing Killing Time, we had some demos as we were writing at home, and we sent them to Gil thinking that we'd never hear back from him. And his manager called our manager and said, yeah, Gil wants to be a part of it. He's really into the songs, and he wants to be involved. So it's kind of, it was a dream come true in some ways, Some countries, some shows are great, some shows are okay, Okay. Well, for us, obviously a day to remember. Every show is selling out, you know what I mean? So for them, they're having a great time. But for us, some shows are good and some shows are okay. But Germany, actually, it's been like the last 2 nights, 2 out of 2. It's been great. I hate the way you make me feel sick. Well, I would love to be in a band with Ben Folds, because he's one of my favorite songwriters. He should play piano. He would play piano. And we'd write songs together. Dave Grohl would play drums, because he needs to get back behind the drums. I love Foo Fighters, but he's the best rock drummer of all time. You know what I mean? He needs to be playing drums. I don't know who would play bass. Anybody's welcome. Sid Vicious can come play bass. Or Dee Dee Ramone. We'll throw him. We'll bring him back from the dead. We'll let him play bass. I hate the way you make me feel sick. The Smiths. We'll have the Smiths. We'll have Nirvana, of course. Muse is, because they're a great festival band, Foo Fighters could play if Dave Grohl can manage to do 2 shows in one day. He'd have to play Nirvana and then Foo Fighters. I think that would do.